is that there's, obviously your left and right hemispheres of the brain, and they in some parts they control the oppositional parts of the body. Not always. That's, very much a generalization that the left side of your brain controls the right side of your body, but there is functionality that is related to that. And one of the things with the left and right hemispheres of the brain, the left side of the brain is the analytical side of the brain, processes things in order, like we experience time, things like that. And then the left side of the brain, or the right side of the brain, is very much more the intuitive, kind of seeing the big picture aspects of things. And we need both of these aspects of our brain to be working well for moving out in the world and functioning and making decisions and processing our thinking and our doing. We need both of these to be online. So in the ancient yogic path, the Ida and Pingala energy meridian, there's lots of ways to experience energy in your body. And in the yoga tradition, the Ida and Pingala energy pathways up through the spine, they crisscross. So they kind of flow around the chakras like this, starting at the base of the spine and coming into the third eye. And it's this way. There's also center energy channels in the body, the Sushumna channel. But this Ida and Pingala is kind of like the sun and the moon. That's what those terms mean. And it's the balancing forces between the hemispheres of the body and the hemispheres of the brain that's really tied into these energy patterns. So a lot of what we're going to do today is going to be working with trying to find the center line of those, but also working with the hemispheres. So there's two basic ways that you can work with balancing the hemispheres of the brain. One is to actually cross the midline, to bring your limbs across the midline of your body, or bring your eyes and head turning from side to side. And then the other way is to do oppositional work. So, like working with the opposition of the arm and the leg. The opposite arm and leg. So those are the two primary ways that you kind of bring the left and right hemispheres to be working in synchronicity with each other. And this is partly why we feel so good when we do yoga. So on that note, let's go ahead and sit up straight and tall and take a moment. And first, just come into the body, close your eyes, and feel what it feels like to reach the earth, to touch whatever's below you, whether it's a blanket or a block or a pillow or the floor. Maybe you're outside and you're actually on the earth. So just take a moment to root yourself, ground, yield. And do this through the sensations of the body, but also through the breath. What does it feel to reach into the diaphragm and loosen it up a bit? Let the belly expand and fall. Quiet the upper muscles that control breathing in your neck and shoulders, and just live deeper. For sure, let your whole lungs fill up, so it's not that you need to quiet the upper lungs. Just quiet the muscles that want to do the work. What does it feel like to stretch the exhales just a bit? This very simple tool. As you're ready, place your palms together. So you decide, do you want them up near your third eye? Do you want them anywhere along the midline of your body? And see if you can sense the palms touching each other, what it feels like to have equal balance, the comfort of the midline of the body. And this is a home for many people. It's kind of a place to nestle and settle within yourself. So allow your breath to expand away from this midline, like you go left, right, expansive outward, and back in on your exhales. Maybe you experience the midline more of a front back. So, remember, we're three-dimensional. We're not one, two-dimensional. We're actually even more than three-dimensional if you think about our energy planes. So just find your center. Offer an intention for what it is that you need balance with in your life. How can integration of the left and right hemispheres of the brain, the analytical side, the intuitive side, if they work together, what can come? Let's release the hands. And we're going to start with some Nadi Shoshana, so some alternate nostril breathing. So traditionally this is done with the right hand, thumb and ring finger on the base of the nostrils, so high up on your nostrils, not down by the tips of your nose. And be comfortable. So, a lot of times when we do this pose, we tend to pull our head off to the side or slouch. See what you can do to get your posture before you start breathing. So lift the spine, drop the chin a teeny bit, relax. Try not to have your elbows so far flung out to the side that you're all tense and taut. Are your fingers relaxed? Is your face relaxed? Remember, pranayama is something we prepare to receive instead of something we forcefully give. So we want to be relaxed for this. So if you've not done this, I'm pretty sure all of you have done this, but just in case, we're going to close off your right nostril. Start to breathe in through the left. And you can stand to do this. You can sit on a couch. You can sit on a chair. You don't have to be in the position you're in. You can change. So we're breathing in through the left, crossing over the midline, close off the left nostril, breathe out through the right, and then in through the right. So it just goes like this. Breathe out, breathe in, switch sides. Breathe out, breathe in, switch sides. Be very gentle. Close your eyes. Let yourself be relaxed and easy. If you are feeling congested, just pause for a minute and take a moment to blow your nose. Or also, if you really feel like you can't do it, only put a little pressure on your nostril so that you're dominant. You're still breathing through both sides of your nose, but you're dominating on one side versus the other, which will cross the hemispheres nicely. Is your spine long? Are you relaxed? Do you have that sense that you are the flow of the breath, the sound? Listen to the sound. Can you feel the focus in the brain itself? Even though we're working with the breath, can you feel that center point in the third eye? Can you allow that honing to the midline, even as you cross from one side to the other? What does it feel like to be in balance, to be doing something on one side and not the other? What is this challenge for your brain? Subtle, but there. And then to complete the practice, we're going to breathe out through the left. So keep going until you naturally exhale through your left nostril. And take your time. Don't rush to get there. And once you are complete, enjoy what it feels like to breathe through both sides of your nose. Swirl the air, the prana through the sinuses. Just like when you're standing on one leg and then you put your foot down and you enjoy having 2 feet on the ground. Let's enjoy having 2 nostrils. Balance. All right, and then let's open our eyes and come onto our mat. When you're ready, take your time. you find yourself coming onto your back, take some time, stretch through your body, stretch your left side, stretch your right side, and just enjoy what it feels like to have your arms up over your head, unless you're not bringing your arms up over your head for whatever reason. Enjoy the straight legs. Take some deep breaths here as you lengthen one side and then the other. All right, and then let's bring our knees into our chest and rock a little bit. Just going left and right, feeling that sense of balance here, you know, where we're, or not balance, but dropping into the hemispheres here. Left, right, left, right. Very simple rocking. Feel how gentle and easy it is. All right, and then right knee into the chest, left leg long on the floor. Take your time to wiggle out your toes and stretch through your ankles. Do some rolls. Give a good squeeze in your hip joint. Give a good squeeze in your knee joint if your joints allow for that. And then change sides. Left knee in, right leg straight. Feel your feet, feel your ankles move. Feel the squeeze in your hip and knee. Feel that compression. Compression is good sometimes. All right, and then relax that. Bring both knees into the chest. And let's circle the knees away from each other and back in. Just kind of going back and forth between the two hip joints, going back toward the midline and then coming away from the midline. And just feel the range of motion. Try to hone in and notice what's different between your left and your right hip joints in the way they move. Can you feel it in your sacroiliac joints, the difference between how your two SI joints feel? How about your two knees? So none of us are symmetrical. You know, we all have little tiny or large discrepancies between our two sides, so just notice. And then put your feet on the ground, and let's take wide feet and windshield wiper your knees. So start just with the knees, going left and right, and just notice the sensation across your pelvis, your sides, your back. And then we're going to add some arms and head movements to this. So let's just bring our arms over to the other side, away from our knees. So just going, crossing the midline. Let the head follow the arms. Let the eyes follow the arms. This can be a slow movement or a fast movement, whatever feels good. It can be in line with breathing or slower or faster than breathing. Just make sure you're still breathing. All right, and then pause. Take your knees wide again, or your feet wide, knees are just up in the air, arms are spread wide. Take a deep breath. And then we're going to turn this into our navel radiation, so stretch your limbs away from your center. Try to stretch evenly. Hands, feet, crown, tail, and then knees into your chest. Tuck up for a little snug ball. A couple of times more. Feel free to squeeze your muscles when you get out there on your limbs. Feel free to squeeze your muscles when you tuck in. One more time, feeling the sense of spaciousness, balance, evenness. Exhale, come into the midline. All right, put your head down. Bring your arms out to the side or anywhere that's comfortable. They can be down at your sides too. And we're just going to do just a little bit without our arms first. We're going to add our arms in a moment. So just bending one knee and bringing the other straight. You can take away the challenge of this by keeping one knee on the ground and just straightening one leg at a time if this is too much for your core to support. But otherwise, keep the legs off the floor and just bringing one knee in and then the other, just starting to wake up the abdominal muscles. And then bring these into the chest. Rock around just a little bit. We're going to add some arms. I know this is a lot to do in the very beginning, so feel free to keep the knees bent. Let's all do it with our knees bent. It's a little easier. So interlace your hands, take the path less traveled, put your hands in the weird interlace behind your head, Just notice, stay with that for a minute. Just notice what it feels like to settle the body in a pattern that's not as familiar. And let's take our right shoulder to left knee, and then our left shoulder to right knee. Cross the midline. Okay, so find that sense that you're turning your head, you're turning your eyes. Start to get the feeling that you have eyes in your head, and you also have eyes on the front of your hip bones. So the eyes on the front of the hip bones are just staying neutral, and the eyes in your head are turning. Are you breathing? All right, then let's rest. Take a breath here. Put your feet down onto the ground. Relax your hip flexors. Relax your belly. Deepening your breath in. Deepening your breath away. All right, let's go ahead and roll over onto our side and come up onto our hands and our knees. So find all fours. Feel free to roll out your wrists. We're going to be on our hands just a teeny bit, so make sure that you're happy. And if your wrists aren't happy, you can always change and take fists or hands on block or forearms on blocks. Start moving through some cat-cows. Enjoy the spine. This is so beautiful. Look at your spine. It's so amazing. It moves in such amazing ways. Be grateful for all the ways that your spine can create movement in your body, twisting, turning, bending, stretching, all the ways. So a couple rounds of some traditional cat-cows, and then invite anything that you want to invite in. And especially if you're vulnerable in a place in your back, if you're feeling like, oh, I have a little spot I need to shore up, pay attention there, explore there, notice what it needs today. Try to do something to support yourself. In cat-cow here, just notice what kind of core strength hugs on to that area. What do you need? Maybe your vulnerability is high or low in the spine. Maybe it's your neck and you need to change some range of motion. And then let's come back towards child's pose. Put your arms wherever you want them, knees wherever you want them. Don't worry if you don't go all the way back. Just find your forehead melting. Come into that space of the third eye and melt there. Relax the jaw, stretch out the exhales. All right, and then come back up onto your hands and your knees. Inhale, lift your right arm up in the air. Exhale and slide that shoulder down, coming into a twist on this side. Enjoy the space behind your back, in the back side of your body. Can you feel the ribs and the spine where they meet? Can you feel the shoulder blade? Can you feel the back side of the heart open? Create whatever space you can find back there. And then as you're ready, lift that arm all the way up to the sky again. Place that hand down onto the ground and change sides. Lift the left arm up, slide that arm through. Have your right hand on the floor to give you some stability. Check in with your neck, check in with your pelvis or your thighs moving back. And then find the middle of the body. Feel the rib cage expand on breath. Explore whatever you're feeling in the back side of your body. And then inhale, reach that arm all the way up to the sky. Place the hand down onto the ground. Stretch back, child's pose again. Walk hands left. So even the lateral bending, even though we're not necessarily crossing our limbs in front of us, there is a sense of shifting into one side. So notice what that feels like. Then come back over to the other side. Settle your body down. Breathe here. And then come back up onto all fours. We're going to take our right leg, let me do this way so you can see the movements. This is a little unusual, so listen, go ahead and bring yourself into bird dog. So left leg, right arm out in front of you, and just feel the stabilizing forces. We're not going to move just yet. Just first feel where you're stable through your core. Can you feel the strap between right shoulder, left hip, both in front and back of the body? Feel that connection of using oppositional limbs. And then place that hand and knee down, and let's change sides. Now we get to lift our right leg and our left arm. And notice the challenge inside the mind. You know, even though we're not, going to fall over, we're already pretty close to the ground. There's balance to be had here. So breathe into that, rest, relax into it as best as you can. And go ahead and release your hand and knee. So here's where some of the slightly unusual movements come from. So stretch the oppositional sides. So left leg, right arm. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, elbow and knee come underneath us. Inhale, stretch it out. Now we're going to take cactus arm and knee out to the sides. Inhale, bring it out. Tuck underneath you again. Elbow and knee coming toward each other. Inhale, stretch your arm and leg long. Out to the side one more time. That's the weird movement. It's just a little bit odd. Reach the arm and leg long. Place that hand and knee down onto the ground. Second side. Let's go ahead and find our leg in the air, our arm in the air. Extend, feel the cross line in the body. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, tuck in. Elbow and knee. Inhale, bring it out. Exhale, cross to the outside. So I'm cactusing knee and elbow. Inhale, bring it long. Exhale, tuck it in. Inhale, bring it long. Exhale, bring it out, cactus. Inhale, bring it long. Place the hand and knee down onto the ground. Do some swirls, anything that frees things up. Find your way to dog pose. Lengthen through the sides of the body. See what it feels like to pedal your feet. And feel free to go a little faster than you sometimes do. You can just drop, 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 drop a heel. Maybe you want to go slower. So just find your pace, whatever feels good. We're going to start just by bending the knee. Don't forget about your shoulders. Try not to collapse into the shoulders. Keep steady. And now we're going to cross the knee. We're keeping our feet on the ground, but we're going to cross our knee over past the midline. So the opposite hip lifts up, and then we cross the other side. Okay, so it's a little bit of a dance. Spinning the knees in. Are you breathing? Find stability in your upper body. Let the hips sway. All right, then come to a slightly wider dog pose, wider legged dog pose. Inner spiral the thighs. Push off the hands. Lengthen through the body. And then walk your feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Check in with the breath. Feel that center point in the third eye. Deep breath in and away. Halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale and melt back down. Push off your feet. Rise up. If you're dizzy, you know what to do. Tuck in toward the midline with squeezes. Exhale and trace down through the center line of the body and pause here for a moment. Just feel what it feels like. And hands can be up at your forehead, in front of your nose, at your throat, your heart, maybe even down at your belly, whatever feels right. So take the time to yield, pause, feel the center. See if you can let the two hemispheres of your brain rest, kind of like they can lean against each other in the midline of the brain, like you were sitting with your back against someone else's back. All right, inhale, reach the arms all the way up. Let's cactus our arms open, take a big wide chest, and then exhale and fold in. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Step your left foot back, the right foot's forward. Find blocks if you want them for your poses. And breathe deeply here. Let's go back and forth, opening up our hip flexors, opening up our hamstrings. So the hips square up, drop the head. When you bend or straighten your leg, lift the head and the chest when you bend your knee. So just enjoy. Do you want to stay put? Do you want to move? How are you warming up the hamstrings and the hip flexors. These, very powerful muscles in the body that we use so much. Give them a little time, a little patience. All right, back foot comes forward. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Step your other foot back. All right, so we're coming into a lunge with your left foot forward. The chest is lifted and broad. Finding the breath. Okay, start moving. Square hips, relax your head. See what it feels like to have a sense of integration. Even this is some oppositional work with our legs doing different things. So, it doesn't feel like a lot of work in the mind as far as I gotta focus, I gotta concentrate, but it is. It's a very concentrated thing to live in the body, to let the mind live in the body. All right, then when you're ready, we're gonna take the blocks away, step back to a plank. All right, so hold steady. Drop the shoulder blades away from the ears. Feel a sense of 360 around your core. Wrap into the midline. Breathe away from the midline. Exhale back into the midline. All right, put your knees down if you need to. Come all the way to the floor. Take a deep breath, cobra pose. Chest open and broad, don't overdo. Keep the neck down, or the neck soft. Relax and come back down. Let's do that a couple more times. Just warming up the spine. Inhale up. Exhale down. With this third one, let's take our hands off the floor. Fingers are still kind of around the chest area, and we're lifting up. Feel the back body muscles. So feel all those ropes around your spine. Stabilize through your core. And then exhale and melt back down. Put your hands underneath your forehead. Take an opportunity to cross the midline in the back. So lift your feet up and windshield wiper your knees left and right. While we're here, scooch over to the side. Well, you don't have to if you're on a carpet, but bring the left knee up high toward your armpit. Find a very low cobra here. So feel your shoulders move away. And I'm not in a cobra, I'm in a sphinx. My forearms are down on the ground. Drop weight into the hip. Lengthen through your spine. Nice and protected in your lumbar spine. So we're not dipping down. And then go ahead and release toward the floor. Take your body into a twist. Open things up. Let the knee leave the floor. If you don't have room, you can cactus your arm like I'm doing. Find your breath. Find a big stretch across your chest. And then come back wrapping around again. Straighten both your legs. Switch sides. Bring your other knee high up toward your armpit. Protect your back. So find your sphinx, but your sphinx can be very low. So this should be really about kind of coming into the hip flexors and the hip joint itself instead of really compressing the lumbar spine. Find your breath. And then let's twist over to this side. If you have props in the way, just move them out of the way. Open your body up. Feel a good chest stretch. Let the knee leave the floor so you're not overtaxing the twist. Be very mindful that you're not overbearing on your spine. And then release and settle back down again. Come up onto your hands and your knees. Perhaps you want to do some swirls. Maybe child's pose would feel good to you. Maybe child's pose would not feel good to you. So do what's nourishing to your body. And then we're going to find our way back to dog pose. Find some pedaling of the feet again. Open up the calves. Then walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana. Inhale for a halfway lift. Sit bones get high and wide. Exhale and melt back down. Push off your feet. Come on up to stand. Maybe your arms come up. Maybe they don't. And pause here for a moment. Palms at the center. Separate your feet hip width apart. Find that centered place in your body. Deep breath in and away. We're going to stand. First, let's bring your arms just out to the side And very simply, we're just going to go back and forth between standing on one foot fairly quickly. I mean, you don't have to like jump, you know, but just go at a pace where you're just lifting one knee, lifting the other. Okay. And then we're going to add the arms in. So just finding like a very exaggerated, weird walking. We're twisting. We're breathing. Feel the hip flexors. Feel the obliques. Feel the breath. And now when we get there, we're going to pause, stand on your right leg, lift the left knee up, and we're going to twist to the left. Drop the shoulders, feel the crown lift, feel the sense of softness through the knee, the standing knee. The thigh bone is back. See if your eyeballs on your hip bones can point straight while you turn your eyes in your head as far as they will go. Feel the inner spiral of your thighs while you do this. Hug to the midline. How's your breath? And then come down. 2 feet on the ground, close your eyes, relax your shoulders. Remember, if your shoulders don't like the twisting action, you can always keep your hands on your hips to do this. Root down into your left foot, right knee lifts up. Try not to stick the hip out or lock the knee. Find your soft, yielding balance. Bring your arms into a twist, whether they're on your hips or out to the sides. Drop the shoulders, lift the spine. Discover the breath. Inner spiral of the thighs. Inner thighs hug to midline. The eyes on your hips are pointing straight to the front of your mat. The eyes in your head are turning toward the back of your mat. Drop the shoulders. Feel the root to rise. And then come back. 2 feet on the ground, reach your arms up. Exhale and let that go. Grab a block, stick it between your thighs. So feel the midline. Again, if you don't have a block, it's okay. Just we're going to come into chair pose with some twists here. Find your breath. Exhale and come to a squat. So your arms do not have to go up overhead if that bothers you in any way. Okay. Take a deep breath in. We're twisting right. Everything in the lower body is stable. Inhale, arms back. Twisting left. Eyes on the hip bones, point straight ahead. One more time each side. Inhale, come back. One more time. Chair pose, palms at the midline. Hug to the midline, gentle hug on that block. Feel the centered place. Breathe in to expand away. Breathe out to hug in. With the block, come up onto your tippy toes. Just challenge your balance. Bring your arms up in the air. And then heels down, fold. Keep the block if you want to. We're going to do a vinyasa with it. Maybe you want to get rid of it. All good, whatever you want to do. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale, step back or hobble your way back to dog pose. Okay, so finding the breath. Extend through the spine. Feel the inner spiral of your legs. So what does it feel like to let the inner thighs roll back a little bit? Not so much that you knock your knees or get offline with your knees, just feeling a sense of release through the hip flexors. Come forward into a plank. Hug toward the midline. All right, and then we're going to take the block out of there. So just reach back, take it out, come back to a plank. This is hard, so you can put your knees down if you need to. Lift your left leg and your right arm. Okay, so you can always do this with your knees on the floor, back to the bird dog we did earlier. Find the strap from shoulder to hip, breathing, and then change sides. Bring the foot and hand down. Sometimes widening your hands and legs can be helpful. Find your breath. Are you in lockdown mode? If you're a striver, see what you can do to release. And then put that hand onto the ground and come onto your knees. Find a cat-cow. And then we're going to bring our right foot forward. Come to a lunge with your knee down onto the ground. Inhale, lift both arms up to the sky. Find that sense of connection of your front heel and your back knee supporting you. Lift up, keep the eyes of your hip bones pointing straight, and you get to do any variation. So lately I've been into just putting my forearm on my knee, but maybe you want to have your arms out. Maybe you're going deeper with your elbow on your knee. So you find you, drop the shoulders, get your spine to grow. Have your breath grow. Inner thighs hug to midline, front heel and back knee find each other. Eyes on the hip bones point straight, eyes in the head turn. And then release. Relax the hands down onto the ground. Walk the back foot forward. Fold in half. Relax. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Step your other foot back. So we're coming into a lunge, back knee onto the floor. Inhale and rise up. So maybe your hands stay on your hips. Maybe your arms come up. Try not to fall into the pose and dip into the low back. Support yourself. Hug front heel and back knee to each other. Hug your inner thighs toward the imaginary midline. Breathe. Keep the headlights on your hip bones pointing straight and find your twist. Try to do the exact same thing you did on the other side here. See if balance works for you. The spine grows, the shoulder blades drop down, the collarbones spread. Still finding the midline. Hip bone eyeballs are pointing straight, head eyeballs are turning. And then relax and come out of there, dog pose. Spread out through your arms and your legs. Feel that balance point, maybe pedaling your knees one more time. Find your breath. And then we're going to do the same thing. Lift your right leg up in the air. It can come high or low or middle. Lift the left arm up in the air. So find, this is hard, so don't worry. The worst thing that's going to happen is your hand and your foot are going to come back to the floor. See what you can do to stabilize. And then place that hand and foot down. Try the other side. Cross hemisphere work in the body is not only hard physically, but it's hard in the mind. Seek what you find. Can you feel your hand and your foot on the ground yielding? Can you feel your hand and leg in the air lengthening? Okay, and then go ahead and put that foot down onto the ground. Walk your feet forward, come into Uttanasana. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Rise up. Shrug your shoulders. Okay. First, just cross your hands to the shoulders. And just simple act of crossing your own midline. Is it comforting to you to cross your midline? There's so many hand mudras you can do. Switch your arms. Notice if this feels more comfortable or less on this side. There's lots and lots of hand mudras you can do across midline. Something as simple as crossing, taking your hands and interlacing your fingers. So instead of palms staying together, cross your arms or cross your fingers over each other. And just enjoy the interlace, that sense of coming to center and slightly crossing over with your fingers. With this, just point up your index fingers to touch. Everything else is still curled under. Inhale, reach the arms to the sky. Lean back a little bit. Find your breath. From here, we're going to step your left foot back. Keep your arms right where they are. Maybe you're at the back of your mat and you have to step forward. So we're coming into Virabhadrasana 1 with our arms up overhead. Feel the interlacing of the fingers. Reach the arms up. Try to protect the lumbar spine. You can tip your head back so your ears are behind your upper arms. Feel your feet. Root yourself. Connect into the back heel. Engage your glutes. And then exhale and release your hands. Walk your back foot forward. Inhale, come back up. Interlace the other way. Put your fingers the other way. Pause here for a moment. Interlace everything but your index fingers. Touch them. Reach the arms up to the sky. Tip your head back. Look up. Left foot is now going to come forward, so either step forward or step back, Virabhadrasana 1. Reach the arms, tip the head back, engage through your core. Feel both feet push into the floor, engage through your glutes. Find your breath. Can you feel that center line all the way up to your index fingers? And then exhale and walk your back foot forward one more time. Come up to stand. This time, instead of just crossing our elbows over, we're going to do a full cross. So eagle pose. Choose whether you want to start with your arms crossed or your legs. We're in opposition, so we're going to stand on our right leg and cross our left leg over, and our right arm's going to come on top of our left arm. So if you're doing opposite, don't worry, just make sure you do both sides. Notice if your hips want to turn, keep the eyes on your hip bones pointing straight. Okay. Find your chair, sit down in it. Breathe. Keep expanding away from the midline on the in-breath, squeezing, hugging toward the midline on your out-breath. Let the thighs squeeze, let the arms squeeze. Lift your chest, widen your collarbones. Find your breath. We're going to unwind this pose. Bring your knee up. Find your breath, stretch back into Virabhadrasana 1 with our foot back behind us. Keep your arms crossed, lift them up. Unwind the pose. Walk your back foot forward, lift your arms to the sky. Bring your arms down. We're standing on the left foot. The right knee is going to cross over. Now our left arm is on top. Find your breath. Squat in your chair. Keep your headlights on your hip bones pointing straight. Lift your sternum. Shoulder blades slide down. Collarbones broaden. The elbows lift a bit. This is a great stretch for the supraspinatus on the tops of your shoulders. Squeeze to the midline. Breathe. Let your peripheral vision take over. Look at your forearms. Change your focus. And unwind. Lift that knee up. Stand on one leg for a moment. Keep the arms. Stretch the leg back. Have faith that the floor is there. Take a deep breath in. Virabhadrasana 1 with your arms crossed. Protect your lumbar spine. Lean forward a little bit more if you need to. Unwind the arms. Foot comes back. Starfish your body standing up. Take a deep breath. And then let yourself fold. Relax. Grab. Cross now by grabbing onto your elbows. Let your spine dangle. Deep breath in and away. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Step back to a plank. I promise we'll keep all 4 extremities on the floor. Find your breath. Lower yourself down safely. So however you get down to the floor, get down to the floor. Choose whether you want your arms out to the side, down at your sides, or up over your head. One more round of some cross lateral work in the body. Right leg, left arm lifting. Feel that strap across the back of the body. Use your muscles in the back of your body and balance it with your core. Keep the neck soft, look down. Exhale and release that toward the floor. Change sides. If your shoulders are unhappy, make a different choice. Your arms can be down at your sides. They don't have to be up overhead. Find your breath. Feel the strap. Feel the core. And then melt and come down. Put your hands under your head. Crisscross your legs. Swish, swish, left and right. All right. Relax your body onto the floor. And we're going to come up onto all fours just for a moment. We're coming back down there, but I just want your back to release a little bit. And then come back onto the floor. Arms anywhere you want them to be. We're gonna come up with everything and we're gonna kick. Kick with your arms, kick with your legs. Don't think about this too much. So this is a really good way to just, you are ingrained by walking into this cross hemisphere work. It's ingrained in you. So let it be. Don't think too much about it. Just let your body cross. Keep the neck long. Use your glutes. Use your core. All right, and then relax. Either up onto all fours for some swirling and swishing around, or actually let's all do that. Let's all swish around a little bit. And then we're gonna drop our hips way over to one side as we turn and look at our feet. And then drop your hips way over to the other side as you turn and look out over your feet. Come to a scared cat. Pull your back up, up, up. And then relax. Dog pose when you're ready. Spread out through your hands. You can always skip poses. There's always ways to balance things out for your practice. Inhale, right leg lifting high. Exhale, bring that foot through to a lunge. Shorten up your stance. Grab a block or two and come up to stand. Take yourself into whatever alignment you need for revolved triangle pose. Okay, so if you need legs wider, take them wider. Inhale and lift your arm to the sky. And go ahead and bring your left arm to the block or blocks. You can stack blocks. Start to twist the body. The shoulders are away from the ears. The collarbones get big and wide. Maybe your hand lifts in the air. Maybe it doesn't. Okay. Keep compact with your pelvis. Hug your femur bones into the joints. The headlights on your hip bones are still straight. The eyes are turning. Root into the front big toe. Pull that hip back. Feel the expanse through your spine. Okay, and then exhale. Walk your back foot forward. Okay, fold in half. I won't forget about the three-legged dog. Step your other foot back. Come on up to stand. So now our left hand is on our hip. Our right hand is up in the air. Find your legs wherever they need to be. And discover the revolved triangle pose. So bring your hand down onto the block. Extend the spine. Feel a sense of twisting, and you get to do whatever you want. So your arm can come in the air or not. Inner spiral the thighs. Keep hugging the hip to the midline so you're not popping the hip out to the side. Spread across your collarbones. Spread across your breath. Stay rooted in your feet. The more that big toe roots and the hip pulls back, the deeper the stretch goes into the IT band and other delicious areas. How's your breathing? All right, and then relax. Place the hands down onto the ground. Lift that leg, left leg up. Three-legged dog. And then bring your foot down. Bring your knees down and come to child's pose. Put your knees close or far, however you want to be. So if child's pose is not available to you, flip over. We're all meeting on our back shortly. So you just come to your back now and hold behind your thighs, kind of like the upside down child's pose. All right, so everybody come over onto your back and let's rock left and right and left and right. Put your feet onto the ground. Grab a block. If you want to do this passively, that's great. If you feel like doing bridge pose actively, you can either put the block between your thighs or just not use a block. You can put a block under your pelvis. So let's all do it actively first, and then we'll do it passively. Let's do it twice. So take a deep breath, either block or no block between your thighs, if you want to use the block. Inhale, lift up, come onto your shoulders. Feel the work of the pose. Enjoy the work of the pose. Feel the symmetry of the pose. Feel the ease in your neck. Breathe. Feel the rooting of the 4 points of each of your feet. What do you love in this posture? What feels good in the body? Can you feel the wrap around your femur bones, that all your muscles on both legs are working for the posture? Can you feel the wrap onto your sacroiliac joints, the hugging onto the bone, muscle hug onto bone? All right, let's go ahead and come down and release the pelvis to the floor. Feel free to move around however you want. Now we're going to do it passively. So block either at the lowest height or the middle height underneath your sacrum. If you have 2 blocks and you want to be on the, I don't know where my other block went. If you want to be super high, you can stack 2 blocks, one on top of the other, so that you're still broad. You don't have to be anywhere near this height. Matter of fact, sometimes lower at this point in the practice can be better, but if you're really tall, sometimes you need that extra height just to be in a comfortable place. All right, so from here, let's have a few breaths just to set the puzzle pieces of our pelvis back to neutral after a lot of twisting. And when you're ready, adjust the blocks, and we're just going to lift the legs straight up in the air. So a little balance and light up the wall without a wall. Breathe. Can you feel that sense of balance? Let your legs be like your palms next to each other, you know, when we put our hands to each other. See if you can feel that seal between your legs, creating a midline. All right, bring the knees into the chest. Perhaps you're still on the block. Perhaps you want to get rid of that block. See what feels good. All right, take the last minute or so before Shavasana. Some people need back bending. Some people need forward bending. So, you know, perhaps you need a happy baby pose. And perhaps you need even more than a happy baby pose. Perhaps you want to come into a little bit of a plow pose. Maybe you can bend your knees like I'm doing. Anything that your body's calling for. Maybe you want to rest in Supta Baddha Konasana for a moment. So you do you. Find what feels right in your body. A few breaths here. And as you, don't do it yet, but as you transition to Shavasana first, when you first lay down on the ground, spread your limbs wide. So just get away from your midline, get broad. Take a deep, broad breath. And then as you're ready, softly move toward your Shavasana, however that looks for you. Knees supported, legs up on a couch, on your side, pillow under your head, whatever it is that your body needs for ease. And as you settle, seek the midline one more time. Don't hug toward it, just center it in the sensation of your body. Maybe traveling from the third eye down to the pelvis, maybe traveling up. Whatever you sense kind of allow yourself to be supported by the center line. And then let your limbs fall away from that. Just let them rest evenly. Can you feel even weight through your arms? Even weight through your legs? Even expansion left and right, ribs and lungs on breath. Even weight through your pelvis. Even notice an even weight through the back of your head. Now, instead of feeling like the hemispheres of the brain can lay back onto each other, see what it feel like to let them be like your knees in Supta Baddha Konasana that move away from the midline. So nothing strenuous inside your skull, just softly let your brain spread. Melt the face. And relax into the breath. Slowly begin to deepen our breathing. Find our way into or onto our side. Use your arms. Help yourself upright. And then as you're ready, decide whether when you come up to sit, whether you'd like to have your hands together, kind of feeling that deep center line, or perhaps you feel like you need to cross your arms over. Okay, so there's subtleties to cross hemisphere work that can be very soothing to the body. So remember these choices, you don't have to be doing huge yoga poses to be supporting yourself throughout the day. So the breath, the little movements of the body are always available. Let's bring the palms toward the heart and bow in. Feel the centered brain across your hands. Put your thumbs across your forehead. Let the centered brain rest in the third eye. Bow in. Offer this centered energy. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. So good to see you.